What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Savoy. Another Walk Tar Wednesday. I know these have been like almost every other the last few weeks, but my plan is to do them every coming Wednesday until we finish going through the Savoy Songbook. I think there are 6 re-recorded versions that I've yet to react to, and we're starting with Rain, or rather we're continuing the overall journey, but starting this, hopefully, consecutive run with Rain, the opening tune, a track from their Lackluster Me album, which I have to say, in retrospect, I really think that's such a fantastic album. It's hard to say in the moment if it's my favorite album of theirs, but it's certainly a contender for it, and I think it's a great transitional album, whereas Mary Is Coming, again, has a largely alternative rock, like almost like an indie rock sort of feel along the course of the album, but this record, it adds a more electronic sound. There's some moments where it has a bit of a like psychedelic rock sound, a blending of electronic and natural instruments. It's definitely, I think, a pivotal album as I've come to see it in retrospect. So yeah, I really do enjoy that record. Curious to hear how they're going to retreat this track. I remember it starts with Rain. There's a real progression as the song goes along. I think Paul's vocals are very good on the original track. They have a weight to them. Not that he sings particularly like low in his range or like heavy in terms of the intensity, but it definitely has a weight to the manner of delivery, and it gives a significance to the song is what it feels like. And it's a very otherworldly, almost dreamy kind of sound with the sonics, which again seem to blend a bit of an alternative rock sound with a more like effect covered sort of electronic sheen over it. So yeah, I really enjoy the original. Not sure what to expect with this re-recorded version. Let's give it a listen. This is Savoy, Rain, the version included on their Savoy Songbook Volume 1, 2007. Oh! It starts bigger and right away.
Rain falls down, empty streets, and I'm falling through the trees, and they're calling out for rain.
definitely a heavier version, more forceful, more powerful, and more rock sounding. Obviously, the original recording, there's still a rock feel to it, but it's a bit more dreamy, a bit more, again, psychedelic, otherworldly. This one just sounds a bit more insistent, forceful, again, and definitely the opening kicks things off. There's no light rain, falling, the sounds of water coming down, hitting the roof, hitting the floor, and landing on you, but it just immediately jumps right into it. And it felt overall like the guitars were toned up a bit. They were beefier, if you will, which I don't know if that's the best description. But yes, they certainly had more oomph to them. And I will say the tone or the atmosphere of the song was changed through that. In the moment, I'm not sure which one I prefer. I think, this one, it got my attention in a way that maybe the original track didn't, but it wasn't as, again, otherworldly, extra-dimensional feeling as the original. I think Paul's vocals work well in both versions, but definitely they hit a bit different, I would say. So, yeah, and ultimately, it's funny, I talked about Lackluster Me being a bit less alternative rock sounding than Mary Is Coming. This felt a bit more in the alternative rock vein. It did remind me of Garbage, which, again, I know in the first couple albums I was making that comparison a lot, so it feels like, again, if you shifted the voice to Shirley, this might have a bit of a Garbage sound more than the original recording, but either way, I think it's a really cool song. Lyrically, again, it's a funny one, because in some ways it feels like the lyrics are tautological, like rain is rain, and they're making statements that seem almost self-evident or obvious to anyone who's been under the rain or seen it come down through the trees. But I think you can take some of the lines to be a bit profound, meaning, and as tautologies often do, they're self-evident and yet insightful at the same time. It's not over till it's over. Well, it's like, of course, like, that's obvious. And then it's like, oh, but, implicit in that is the idea of continuing to strive until it's absolutely clear that no more change can be made. So I think some of the lines have that self-evident quality, but you can read them as having, a life lesson or a principle that you can derive significant meaning from. So I think it's a really cool song. I'm curious to know if people do have preferences, this versus the original recording. Let me know, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Why did I say that?